She has been on The Moth. She's also the host and producer of the New York edition of Taboo Tales. Please welcome Vanessa Golenia.
So 2 years ago, my mom's Christmas gift to me was Botox. Oh my God. That's a strange gift for many reasons. Not the least of them being that I'm someone who tries to live naturally. I'm the girl who wears a Diva cup. I go on regular juice cleanses, and I make my own organic, natural face wash at home. And it's not like my mom gave me a fancy gift card to like a fancy Botox place in Beverly Hills. No, she made me an appointment to get Botox done in Tijuana. Yeah, as in like lawless donkey show drug cartels Tijuana. But to give my mom credit, I had just turned 30, and overnight this gigantic wrinkle the size of the Grand Canyon had appeared on my forehead. And around this time, I'd met this guy that I really liked. And so I started doing things that one does when one has a new boyfriend, like shaving my legs and wearing matching bras and panties. And he was always taking pictures of me. He was super cute. And when he would show me these pictures of me and of us, and all I could do was focus on this one wrinkle. And so I thought, you know what? I'll give it a try. And of course I had concerns because, you know, getting these procedures done in a place like Tijuana. And so in an effort to vet out the doctor, I went online, and what I found was a Facebook profile of a guy decked out in a mariachi outfit, sitting on a horse, and a post description where he referred to himself as a mommy makeover expert. But my mom, she like reassured me that Dr. Gilberto Jimenez was legit. And so I went down to the clinic, and he ends up carpet bombing half my face with Botox. And when he's done, he goes, "Can I make a suggestion?" And now I consider myself someone with good manners, so I said, sure. And he brings a mirror up to my face, and he says, "So look at here." And he points out that my nose is slightly crooked, that my the upper sides of my cheeks are like starting to sink in, and my lower cheeks are like a little too fat. And so he suggests that I get a nose job, some fillers, and some cheek sculpting. And I think, like, I start laughing because it sounds ridiculous. I've always thought I've had a completely agreeable face. But then I think, wait a minute. Dr. Gilberto is a real doctor, and I think he just diagnosed me as ugly. And he says he would do it all. The nose job, the sculpting, the fillers for $3,700. At this point, I know nothing about plastic surgery, but my initial thought was, damn, that sounds like a good deal. And I hesitate, and he goes even lower, $3,200. And he's like, you know, he tells me all these things, and he shows me all these like before and after pictures of dozens of girls that he's worked on, and I have to admit, they look really gorgeous. They look like Mexican telenovela stars. So let's just say, like, I left that day with an appointment to have work done a month later when I'd be off for like the holidays. But I come back to New York, and when I'm in New York, I have second thoughts. Like, on the one hand, I think to myself, you know, money aside, most people, if given the choice, would choose to look more attractive no matter how attractive they already were. And on top of that, like, pretty people get ahead, damn it. Like, this was an investment in my future. But on the other hand, I was terrified of looking like Joan Rivers. I thought to myself, you know, maybe I'd be guilty of perpetuating these awful beauty standards that continue to oppress women in society. Or worse, I'd be living an inauthentic life. Like, hashtag I woke up like this would be a complete lie. And so I didn't know what to do, so I went in search of a second opinion. And that's how I ended up in Dr. Ratner's office on Park Avenue. Dr. Ratner is a triple certified plastic surgeon with excellent Yelp reviews. And Dr. Ratner told me that cosmetic surgery should only be handled by the best. And he quoted me $10,000 for the nose job, $1,200 for each filler, and $5,000 for the cheek sculpting. All of a sudden, a $3,200 proposition seemed like a steal. But before I left his office, he stopped me and he said, "Let me ask you something." He's like, "Do you wake up every morning and hate your nose?" And I said, "No." He's like, "Then don't do it. It's not worth the pain, the money, or the recovery time." He's like, "And listen, there's so many successful women out there with ugly noses. Take Sarah Jessica Parker." And I was like, you know what? He's right. I love SJP. And if SJP doesn't want to get a nose job, then neither do I. And so I left that day thinking, I'm not going to go through with it. But then a few days later, I'm like, you only live once, might as well try to look as pretty as you can. Ultimately, it came down to one thing, and it's something that I didn't realize about myself until then, which is namely that I'm a woman who never passes up a good deal. And so I decided to go for it, but I was so embarrassed that I didn't want to tell anybody. I didn't want to tell my friends, I didn't want to tell my coworkers, and I especially didn't want to tell my new boyfriend. A few words about my boyfriend. He's a visual artist, and his life is highly curated. This is a man who wears brooches and will only drink coffee from a handmade ceramic cup. On top of that, he's also a feminist. So logically, I thought, a girlfriend who gets cheap cosmetic procedures would probably not fit into his aesthetic or his worldview. So I did what any girl would do. I lied. I told him that I developed a strange allergy and had to have sinus removal surgery, which I've since discovered is not technically a thing. But he bought it. And a week later, I boarded a flight back to Mexico. But back in Dr. Gilberto's office, I chickened out. So I couldn't wrap my head around letting this guy into my nostrils to chisel at my nose, a nose that I'd been perfectly fine with up until then. But I did decide to go through with the fillers and the cheek sculpting because, I did fly all the way down there after all. And so he started the procedure by getting a syringe the size of a 12-inch ruler, and he stabs my abdomen with it. And as he's harvesting the fat out of my abdomen, he tells me calmly that doing a fat transfer is actually a more natural approach than synthetic fillers, which gave me some level of comfort because I was getting cosmetic surgery the organic way. But I wasn't prepared for what happened next. So as he's injecting my face with my own fat, I hear this strange sound. If you can imagine what it would sound like if someone farted directly inside your head, that's what it sounds like. Anyways, so a week following the procedure, I look like a monster. My cheeks are lopsided. They have hard bumps all over them. I can't chew. I have to drink from a straw. And at Christmas morning, I wake up, and I just look in the mirror and I cry. And I spent hours online just looking at plastic surgery gone wrong, trying to predict how it was going to look by the end of it. And at some point, my mom turns to me and she goes, "Ay, Vanessa, you don't even look like you're happy that you're going to have a new face." And I had to remind her that I literally could not smile. So my boyfriend, when I pick him up from the airport, the swelling hasn't gone down completely, but he doesn't seem to notice because men never notice anything. And that's until we end up having sex. One thing I didn't think through was that he was going to see all the bruising that happened around my abdomen. And so when he sees that, he goes, wait, what the hell is that? And I cave in. I tell him about the cheek sculpting and the fillers and the near nose job. And to my relief, he doesn't judge me and he doesn't break up with me. In fact, he tells me that he thinks it's a little out of character, but that he thinks I'm beautiful regardless, and he respects whatever it is I want to do with my body. And that's when I like silently tapped myself on the shoulder. I patted myself on the shoulder for going on that feminist dating app I met him on. And when the conversation came to an end, he said, "Well, at least you didn't get Botox." Thank you.